Have you ever been forced to train the interns hired to replace you? I used to work in media intelligence, which is a pretty niche industry where I live. Before that, I came from hospitality, so switching fields was a huge leap for me. But I was eager to prove myself. I started at the very bottom, learning everything from scratch, and within just 6 months, I was one of the best at the job. At the beginning, I was lucky. I had an amazing boss and a great teammate. Both were veterans in the industry, and they taught me everything I know. We made a solid team, and for a while, it felt like I had found my place. But the company's upper management was terrible. In just 1 year, they changed direction 4 different times, never sticking to anything. It stressed everyone out, and eventually both my boss and teammate quit. They even asked me to join them at their new company, but I was young, naive, and determined to prove myself. I stayed behind, thinking it would pay off. That was the biggest mistake I made. After they left, I was the only one running my team. Suddenly, I was responsible for multiple markets, managing both old and new systems. And on top of that, I had to be on call for technical support around the clock. I was working 13-hour days, sometimes more. My life was basically work, eat, sleep, repeat. I begged my manager to hire more people. I told her I couldn't keep going like this, but every time she brushed me off with the same excuse, "We don't have the budget." One night, the CEO invited me to dinner. He had grown close to me because, frankly, I was the only person left who understood both the old and new systems. He asked what changes I wanted to see in the company. I thought this was my chance, so I asked for help. Hire 2 people to lighten the load, or at least give me a promotion and a raise for carrying the department on my own. His answer? "You don't have the necessary experience yet." That was a slap in the face. I had been holding his entire company together, but apparently I still wasn't experienced enough to deserve more than exhaustion. By then, I had almost 3 weeks of unused PTO. I desperately needed a break. When I told my manager I was going to take it, she threatened to fire me if I did. Her excuse was that no one else could do my job. I thought about it for a moment, then realized if I didn't take this time off, I might burn out completely. So I ignored her threat and went on vacation anyway. For the first time in months, I could rest, breathe, and actually feel human again. When I returned, I walked into the office and immediately noticed 2 unfamiliar faces. My manager introduced them as interns. Then she dropped the bombshell. They were my replacements. I had 2 months left, and during that time, I had to train them before I left. I was stunned. After all the long hours, all the sacrifices, all the loyalty I'd shown, this was my reward, to be replaced by interns? But here's where the malicious compliance comes in. My manager didn't know how the systems actually worked. She couldn't even tell the difference between the legacy system and the new one. So when she told me to train the interns only on the legacy system so they'd understand how the company was built, I smiled and said, "Of course." For the next 2 months, I taught them everything about the outdated system that wasn't even used for daily operations anymore. I followed her instructions exactly. I never shared my personal notes. I never explained the shortcuts, and I never showed them how to run the new system. After all, I was just doing what my manager told me to do. When my final week came around, the chaos finally exploded. The interns were completely useless when it came to the actual work. My manager dragged me into a meeting with the CEO and the managing director, accusing me of not training them properly. But I was ready. I pulled out the email she had sent me, where she clearly instructed me to train them only on the legacy systems. The look on their faces was priceless. The meeting ended almost instantly after that. A week later, my phone rang. It was my manager. She tried to backtrack, telling me the firing was just a prank and begging me to return. I laughed and told her I'd only come back if they paid me triple my old salary. She called me crazy and hung up. It's been months since then. Through a friend who still works there, I've heard that my old manager is drowning. The interns can't keep up. The system is falling apart, and now she's stuck dealing with the mess she created. In the end, they thought they could replace me with interns. Instead, they replaced me with chaos.